everybody. Thank you guys for joining us for Marriage Moments with the Islands. We are excited that you are joining us, and we would like for you to share this so that everyone can know that there is hope for marriage, no matter where you are, whether you are in the thick of it in your marriage or whether you are just newlywed or if you're even contemplating getting married. We want you to have this content. So share this message. Today's topic is, I feel like it's a really important topic.
Yeah, I think so too. I was really happy that you even said you wanted to talk about this because I think it's so important. So many people don't understand that this topic is going to happen whether you like it or not.
Right.
What we're talking about, you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
You know, and so when you said it today, actually, it just really blew my mind. So make sure that you realize that marriage moments, it's always a moment. It always matters. And so me and Elena here, we're really going to have some fun today. So go ahead and roll out the topic.
So today we're going to be talking about drift. So drift is something in marriage that kind of happens and you almost aren't aware of it. You, like, life is happening, kids are happening. As they say nowadays, life is lifing, right? And
I've never heard of it.
Never? Oh my gosh,
she's
babe.
a podcaster and she listens to all these YouTube videos and TED Talks and stuff. So she got all
the lingo.
Yeah,
all the lingo.
I'm like totally behind. But go ahead. Life is lifing.
Life is lifing.
I
and
like
so
it.
What ends up happening is you and your spouse may not feel as connected or as close as you once did. And so I want to take a few minutes today. Well, we want to take a few minutes today and talk about how drift happens, what it looks like, and maybe offer a few solutions, things that we've done.
Yeah, and really I want to just start out by discussing, we were going to sushi, and we came out and we were in the parking lot. And we were sitting in the car, and I just felt like I wanted to talk about how we were drifting. And even though we were living together, obviously every night, sleeping in the same bed, serving in the same organization.
Yeah.
We were passing by each other, looking at each other, eating together. It just felt like there was some type of distance that was taking place. It was something that was bringing a wedge.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like negative, like I was mad at you or you were mad at me, but it just seemed
it's
like,
not always so obvious.
because relationships on purpose naturally tend to gravitate away from one another, whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
It's just gonna happen. You don't have to do it. It's just gonna happen on
Yeah,
purpose.
that's
you don't
the
have
norm.
to be intentional about it at all. So we had a talk and we started getting a rhythm down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that rhythm was like, okay, we're gonna do this together no matter what. Okay, what's going on? We're gonna stop and we're gonna do this together.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the things that we do often to help us from not drifting is we have check-ins.
Yeah.
Check-ins are very, very important. Like maybe in the commute to work, because we work together, we'll just tap into one another's hearts, tap into one another's minds, like find out like where you at, what's going on. It may not even be deep stuff, but tell me how that helps and tell everyone how that helps our marriage, you think.
Well, check-ins definitely help, but I want to save that because I want to talk about what drift looks like. How does it start first? And then we'll circle back and we'll chime that in.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So let's start with what drift looks like. Like, how does it start? Where does it come from? And for me, I believe that drift starts with lack of communication. Like when you stop communicating with your spouse, when you just think that you know what they're going to say, you know how they're going to respond, you just kind of fill in their blanks. I mean, as you are married and the years go by, of course you know that person, you know, pretty well as time goes by, but it's never fair to assume you know what they're going to say or you know how they're going to respond all the time, because that's not giving your spouse room for change, right?
Yeah.
So I think that clear and concise, the lack of clear and concise communication begins a drift.
Is it possible that you can be talking and not communicating?
I think so. Because sometimes, I know I've been guilty of hiding my true feelings, you know, or I've been guilty of just kind of riding along with what you want to do because it's easier, you know. And so, yeah, I think that's absolutely possible.
Yeah, I believe that too. It just came to my mind because you can talk to someone every day.
Yeah.
You can see them every day. In this context, we're talking about marriage, or if you're dating or you're about to get married. Don't mistake talking for communicating.
Yeah. And which leads me to my next point, because you can be talking and not creating a safe space. And if you're not creating a safe space for your person, that conversation is no longer healthy communication. It's just talk.
Can you just go ahead and just kind of clarify what an unsafe place looks like in marriage?
Yeah. So I know
because it doesn't always have to be like verbal abuse or even like physical abuse or anything like that.
Yeah.
So can you give us a clarity on what that looks like?
Well, I know for me, because we always talk about how our early years of marriage were really hard.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, it kind of popped up like, because Billy is very focused and he's very intense, right? So he can come across as my way or the highway type person. And I'm let's just have peace, let's get along, and all of that. So you weren't trying to crush me or step on me or anything. It's just that you talk loud. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
And so for me, I had to realize that it wasn't so much him dismissing me, right, as much as it was, this is his personality, and I have to bring my who I am to the table as well.
And how that created an unsafe space for you.
So it created an unsafe space because I was assuming that because you were so focused and forthcoming with your thoughts and ideas, that mine didn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, when you have leaders, what I notice, even if you're not even in marriage, if you come to a table with leaders, maybe it's 5 thought leaders or 5 leaders in a room, and if they're talking about an agenda, everybody's going to be very strong about their opinion, about where they want to go. I mean, and they're not going to back down. And they, don't get me wrong, if they come to realize, okay, for the betterment of the team, we're going to go this direction, but everybody's going to be very headstrong. And so I think I brought that to the table unintentional, just who I am. But, I'm glad that you were okay with going on a journey of learning.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it takes, So we were talking about safe space, right? So a safe space is not a space where your partner doesn't feel heard or seen. It's where they aren't even comfortable with being vulnerable with you, and transparent with you. That's not a safe space. If your person can't come to you with their highs and lows and everything in between, then they don't feel safe.
And I think it's very important for a person like me to make sure that I open up to create that. That avenue that you could travel down and say, okay, no, I feel safe. I feel safe to be able to be vulnerable, say my thoughts, whether they may seem quirky or corny or even cute, whatever it may be, or something that he may not even want to talk about. And I think that was a journey. And it's still a journey, as we learn how to communicate and not just talk. So, wow, that's good. So an unhealthy space would be a space where a person don't feel vulnerable.
Where they don't feel seen and heard.
They don't feel seen or heard. And that could be depressing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely it can. And ultimately lead to drift in a marriage.
Yeah. I mean, because you could be laying right there in the bed or sitting right on the couch watching a movie with them, but you feel unheard.
Yeah.
You feel like you're not seen.
Absolutely.
And you feel like, what you bring to the table isn't valuable, or maybe your spouse don't feel that it's valuable. So, gosh, I can see what that really, really
creates drift. Another thing that creates drift in a marriage is basically not understanding the work it takes to go against the current. So the natural tendency in a marriage is to drift, right?
Yes.
So I think that sometimes couples don't understand this is work. Like, you have to work at not going with the flow.
What do you think the number one reason is that people kind of like get the wrong impression about marriage, that it's not work or just, it's I'm not going to say it's not fun, but it's all fun and selfies and traveling and smiling. I mean, what makes people think, what do you think the number one reason people think, it's just your opinion, that marriage is not work? I mean, who gave people that impression? Why do they have that?
It could, I don't know. I mean, I think that sometimes we just come to the table with unrealistic expectation that has been built by what we see in society or on social media in recent years, you know, or what we saw on TV back in the day, you know, because there was always this quintessential perfect family, you know, and I think that we just all kind of got a misunderstanding of what that looked like.
I'm not gonna let her say that word, and I think that I know what that means. Quintessential, like you just threw that in there, like it's.
Okay.
Hey, hold
sir.
on, you just threw that word in there.
Wow.
Like, hold on. So this quintessential.
So like this ideal, this ideal
like, man,
family that everybody wants.
I'm not gonna be sitting here like I know what you're talking about.
So anyway, I think that we need to just embrace and accept the fact that it's going to be work.
Yeah.
It's going to be work. And when we aren't coming into it with that understanding, we get that phrase like irreconcilable differences. You know,
what does that
we
mean
were just,
anyway? Because I don't understand, because why come you can't reconcile? And yeah, it's going to be a whole bunch of differences, right?
Yeah. So I think it's just a little phrase that is easy to use, probably.
Okay.
I don't know. But I do know that that's one of the ways that drift starts, when you don't realize you have to put in work, because the natural tendency is to drift apart.
What is one of the biggest things, the works that you did not know you were going to have to do, or, you know, you were going to have to accomplish? What is one of the big things that in this marriage you're like, man, I didn't know that I was going to have to do that? Why she started laughing?
Oh my gosh. One of the biggest things, I think I didn't realize how much patience it takes to deal with how much patience it takes.
Yeah.
You know, because your person isn't going to be who you want them to be, you know, immediately. And
maybe never.
And okay, that's exactly what I was about to say. They may not ever be that person, but they're the best version of themselves.
Please.
And that you have to learn how to love and accept and all the things.
Yeah.
And I think that that requires a great deal of patience, you know, and that's one of the things that I always say, you know, you have a lot of patience with me, you know, and then you flip it and say, no, you have a lot of patience with me. So I think we put in a lot
you
of
definitely
patience,
got a lot of patience with me, I promise
work.
you that. But yeah, that
other.
is true. I mean, just the journey. I think that people don't appreciate journeys as much as they should. Like, people always want to start something. You hear people, "Ooh, I started this new book. I started this new job." Ooh, and don't get me wrong. Sometimes I'm one of those. I'm fulfilled by completing something.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have to back up and say, you know what? The journey is just that much.
Just as beautiful.
Yeah, it's just as beautiful.
Yeah.
It's that much more important, you know. It's more important than starting, because I don't want to start and not enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't want to complete and not enjoy it. I just finished the task. So,
Yeah.
in marriage, you know, just enjoying the journey is something that that I think that, you know, a person have to learn. But you've had to learn.
Yeah, you got to invest.
Be patient.
You have to invest a lot of patience in your marriage, because it's not going to be what you think it ought to be overnight. It's just not.
And as believers, Jesus has been patient with us. I mean, you know, to bring up the God factor, God has been very, very patient with us.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really are being honest with yourself, and if you look back and see how God has been patient with you, and He says He wants us to extend that to others. So
Yeah.
That's very
So what
important.
better person than your spouse, right?
Yeah.
So that leads us to the flip side, which is
So drift.
So, yeah.
It happens in unhealthy environments.
it happens in unhealthy environments.
And
It happens
also
with a lack of communication.
lack of communication.
And it happens when you don't realize that you're going to have to put in work to not drift.
Yeah, I could see that. I
Okay.
could see that. That's very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now I want to kind of circle back to what you started talking about early on.
Sushi.
Okay. Yeah.
You remember that?
We'll go with that.
Yeah. We were in the parking lot. I'll never forget. We were in the parking lot, and we
I feel like we have a lot of conversations.
Yeah,
like that.
we do. But it was in, you know, we were in the parking lot, and I just remember, you know, just stopping, wanting to kind of like lean in on how you had just been moving around and been real busy and workaholic, and you know I am. I'm working, and we just kind of like, we were existing with one another, and it didn't seem like we were collaborating our lives.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to just kind of like lean in on that and say, hey, you know what? we need to, cut that out.
Yeah.
And,
Check-ins. That's what it was. Check-ins.
Yeah, and we
Okay.
checked in. I mean, and one of the things it was because I'm a guy that I disciple people, and I think I grabbed unintentionally. I grabbed the guy and started having him with me on one of our date nights, and it wasn't date night, but it was the date in the daytime. Then you would burn out, and then I get around, and you weren't around. I'm like, whoa. But
Yeah.
you were like saying, well, you're with him, and so you start getting him and on Fridays, and I was like, well, we're gonna just go ahead and cut him off on Friday. Then. I'm gonna have to find another time because
Give him the boot.
Yeah, yeah, he definitely get the boot. If it's you or him, you all day, right? So but I had to kind of like cut that out so I could make sure. But those check-ins were so important. If you don't have check-ins and you just assume that everything's okay.
Oh yeah.
Because we're married, we haven't argued.
Yeah.
We got money in the bank.
Yeah.
We got a roof over our head. That's why the litmus test for successful marriages don't need to be based on what you physically have.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
you can't test and say, okay, well, we got a house, check. We got money.
Check. Yeah.
We got the kids are healthy.
Check.
We got vehicles. I mean, if you start doing that, you'll have the wrong benchmark for what success is in marriage. And so I think that all those things were taken care of. We were really healthy financially and physically and mentally, but somewhere I felt like emotionally we had kind of like drifted.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So we had that check in and we solved that. We solved it right to this day. I don't think that we really truly violate. Though there's every once in a while we might have to work or something on a Friday or on our date night, but we'll switch it up. Okay, well Saturday then.
Yeah.
And so or Thursday night or something. We'll
the main thing is it's intentional. It's intentional. So that is going against the natural current of drifting.
And you have to be intentional because, like you said, the natural current is for relationships to drift apart, and you don't have to be mad at that person.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest eye openers that I've had. I'm not mad at you. I'm not secretly resenting you or bitter or any of that. I just don't even know what you're doing anymore. Like, what do you even do? Where have you even been? I don't even know. And so
mentally,
mostly mentally because we work together. I mean, I can look over and see what you're working on or something, but just how do you feel? Like what, and I forgot who it was, but we were listening to, I don't know if it was a podcast or a reel or something, and they were saying the best thing to ask a man is, what do you think? Like, what are you thinking? Where are you, And
the best thing you ask a woman is how you feel.
Yeah. And I think that's true. Because every time I ask you, hey, how are you feeling, babe? You're kind of just like, good. And you're not a person for few words. So when you answer with one or two words, I'm like, okay, let me rephrase
I didn't
this.
connect. I didn't connect that out with
you. You weren't present. So I have to go back and be like, okay, let me ask this in a way that's going to jar him.
What are you thinking? Oh, boy.
Yeah.
You can't shut me up there. So it's so important to understand the drift is going to happen.
Yeah.
And, it happens because of unhealthy environments, lack of communication, and it happens also through, what did you say?
Wanting to put in the work that it takes not to drift.
Unrealistic expectations of what it takes to build a healthy marriage. So when you're talking about not drifting, what can we do intentionally in order to not drift in marriage? One of the things we said, we check-ins, right?
Yeah, check-ins.
Having check-ins. Then two, having scheduled on the calendar times that you connect with your spouse.
Yep.
And not just, we took a selfie and we went to go eat. I'm talking about, that's why it's important to say check-ins first, because check-ins really taps into how are you feeling?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Yeah.
It's not just we're sitting down and we ate a great meal, we took a little selfie, tagged where we're at and then posted it. No. We were really weekly or identical, because you'll drift and they have had all kind of stuff happen in their life.
Right.
In the last week or two, all kind of stuff is happening, and they have all this stuff on their mind, on their heart, and and you haven't asked anything or tapped into that, and they're just thugging it out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who are we? We're just gonna thug it out. Ain't nobody gonna quit. We're gonna keep on serving God, obviously, but
it's legit miserable.
Going through it.
Yeah.
So
and maybe not even miserable with you as a person, but sometimes I just want to tell you what happened with me. Like, I had to go to the bank, or somebody cut in front of me, because when people cut in front of me, it really. And so when I don't tell you about it, it just kind of festers, and then I just blow up, and it's like it wasn't even about you.
Watch
It
this.
was something that you don't have to.
No, I'm gonna do it. You don't want to open it up. Somebody always cuts in
Oh
front
my
of us, and I have to
gosh.
put my hand on it and give a generous explanation of why
Yeah,
they didn't see us, Elena.
I'm trying
And
to figure
she's
out
like, "What? How could they not see it?" They
Right.
did not see us.
You're legit 6'2".
It's
Like how?
okay. It's okay.
I can see if somebody maybe ran over me, which I can't really know that, but you're 6'2". Like
Yeah, but-
seriously, how
so-
can you not? Oh, okay,
Yeah, I
so
have to be
it's a
there.
deal.
I
It's a
have to be
thing
there.
for me.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I will legit race someone.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't even know
pushing
why.
a little shopping cart, almost running over old little ladies and kids. I'm
For
like,
real, it's
Elena,
bad
slow
sometimes.
down.
I'm
It's
like,
okay.
what is wrong
We're
with
gonna
you?
get out of the store.
Right.
We're gonna get out of the store with our little, snacks and whatever we got.
Right.
It's gonna be okay.
Literally $10 worth of groceries,
Yeah.
and I want to be first. But anyway, that's something to go over with a therapist or something one day, I guess. But
how do we
anyway,
heal?
back to how do we heal?
How do we heal? Back to that. How do we heal? What journey do we take in order to heal from the drift?
So again, check-ins is super important because in check-ins you're going to have that clear and safe communication.
That's good. So good.
And then I think that making sure that you realize that it's normal to drift. It's just not good. It's not normal to stay there.
Oh, that's
it's not
so
healthy
good.
to stay there, but it's normal.
So
I think
good.
people panic about the wrong things. I don't know you anymore. I don't know even, do you even love me? It turns into all of that.
Yeah.
And you want to flip the table on your marriage. And in reality, drifting was a part of it anyway.
Yeah. Get all theatrical.
It's about what you're going to do to build a bridge
Yeah,
to
to
one another.
combat against it, because
Right.
you're not going to have a marriage and not drift. You're not going to have a relationship and not drift. That's just going to happen. Life is always shifting us.
Yeah.
And not just life, but just, human beings are, we're always going to be in motion. We're we're not just stabilized or stationary,
Yeah.
in the sense of us not moving. We're going
Right,
to be moving.
right.
So
Yep.
typically we're going to move away. So that's good just to acknowledge. So that's the first thing, right? You need to acknowledge it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. That's a good starting place. So you won't be in denial, right? Hey, that's so good. You really want
Yeah.
to write that down. That is good. Yeah, you jot that one down. I'm telling you. Do not be in denial of the drift in marriage.
That it's going to happen. And then, so that's why check-ins are important, so that you're creating a safe space for your person to be able to communicate, bring their true, transparent, and vulnerable self, because you should be able to be transparent and vulnerable in your marriage.
Absolutely. Let's
And-
define the two.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so transparency, it's just being real and authentic. It's being real and authentic. You should be transparent with everyone.
Yeah.
You're transparent with every single person that you come in contact with. You're bringing your authentic self to the table. Now, vulnerability is being like so open and so raw that only a few people that need to be in the room when you're that way. Special people that you can trust, that they're going to pray with you. They're going to, give you insight. They're going to build you up. And in a marriage, you should have a marriage where you can be transparent and vulnerable. So
Yeah.
if you can always bring your real self. You should
Yeah.
bring your real self everywhere. But vulnerability that's for the rare. That's for the
That's
few.
another level, because
That's for the few.
there shouldn't be anything that you aren't willing to talk to your spouse about.
Oh, yeah.
We have had some really intense, interesting conversations, and I think that that is what has cultivated the vulnerability that we have with each other.
Well, yeah, you're
and
my
it's
person.
growing.
Yeah,
It's
well,
definitely
you're my person.
growing.
I don't have a person that I'm more intimate with. What I mean by intimacy is that I'm more vulnerable with than you. There is no one. There is not one person, not even close. And I love my leadership and people that have coached me and guided me. I have a counselor, a therapist, Christian therapist, but no, I'm not as vulnerable with them as I am with you, because I think the vulnerability starts in our own house and in our marriage.
Absolutely, I agree.
I think that's where it
so
starts.
I think those things help heal drift and help us be aware of it. Things that we need to constantly work on, because marriage is a lifetime commitment, and
be.
so it should be. Should be, right? So working at it is a must.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And so I just wanted to talk about drift because for some odd reason, the fact that it's fall made me think about that. And I don't know if it's because like leaves falling, they're kind of drifting in the wind. I don't know. It was a stretch, but I thought about that.
Yeah, that was.
I thought about that.
Yeah.
Because it's fall, and I don't know. But anyway,
Is that
and,
where it
you
came
know
from?
what? I think because it was a whole connection. What it was okay. Fall means that everybody's back on their schedules. Kids are in school.
Okay.
People are on the go. You know, you're taking kids to practice and football and all this
Yes.
stuff, cheerleader practice and dance and all of the things. And you can be like two ships passing in the night with your spouse because everybody has their chore list, right? Everybody has their stuff they have to do and get done. And I think it intensifies when kids go back to school and schedules get back on task and all of that. And so it's one of the things that it came to mind because I want people to be aware that
That's so
when
good.
you have busy seasons with when school starts pretty much to the end of the year because holidays are going to be rolling around, and then you get to the Thanksgiving table and have the biggest blow up ever because we haven't communicated in 3 months or whatever,
so good, so good.
And so that's what it was. It was fall. It had to do with leaves, but not really so much with leaves as much as with people getting back on schedule.
I
and
didn't take you for being a person like that, but yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You put all that together.
I did.
Leaves and fall and autumn. And
yeah,
it's awesome. It's awesome.
But by the way, it's my favorite season.
Oh, mine too.
Yeah.
I love it. Light jacket,
Yeah.
sweater.
Well,
Come
we're
on
not
now.
there yet, but,
Yeah,
I mean,
boots.
you know.
Yeah, well, Dallas, Texas, we don't get that. But I want you to go ahead and comment areas that you need prayer.
Yeah.
Your marriage and your relationship. I want you to comment, and if you don't feel comfortable being vulnerable or even transparent, for that matter, go ahead and DM me at I am Billy Island on Instagram, so you can actually get some prayer. Now, I just want to make sure I'm not the only one on that account. I have someone to run it, so you want to kind of like keep it to if you don't want everyone to know what's going on or a few people to know what's going on, just always know that it's not just me looking at that account. But inbox me, Helena. Are you back on social media?
I'm not. I'm fasting from social media right now.
Fasting.
I will. Okay. I don't know when I'm coming back. Actually, it's been pretty cool not being on social media. Actually,
Well,
I feel so much more focused because I tend to drift.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good.
That was funny. I don't care what you say.
Yeah. It was there. It was something. You know what I'm saying? So it was
funny.
something. So
That was funny.
man, thank you for the topic, though, babe. That
for
topic,
sure.
I'm glad. When you said it, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know what we was gonna talk about. But when she said something about drift, I said, "Wow, that's a good topic." So if you're drifting right now, just go ahead and hit me up. I'll pray with you. I'll talk with you. Give you some counsel, some advice.
Yeah.
Obviously, Helena and I have been through numerous of drifting seasons.
Yeah.
And because it's real, you're not going to get around it.
Yep.
You got to make sure that you intentionally combat against it. Check-ins, have scheduled time for you and your spouse to communicate. And so we are grateful that Marriage Moments is a place where you come and land on social media. We want you to share this. We want you to comment on this. We want to make sure that you get the word out, because if you're drifting, I believe that this content will help you. Make sure that you get the content out. Thank you so much. Because marriage, it really, really matters. Every single moment matters, and you want to really, really tap into all of that. So thank you, Helena, for the topic. God bless you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Billy, for joining us.
All right.
Or me.
Thank you for joining us. All right. We're out.
Bye.